Hey y'all, I'm Joe and I'm back to do another Q&A. You guys sent in a lot of questions and I'll try to get through them as fluidly as I can. So let's not waste any time and get started. Okay, the first set of questions come from Tevye Smolka, who's been a big supporter of my channel for at least a couple years. Thanks for your questions, buddy. I'm just wondering, have you seen Young Justice Outsiders on the DC Universe streaming service? I've heard of it, but no, I haven't been watching it. What are your most anticipated movies, video games, animated movies, TV shows coming out in 2019? Avengers Endgame. I mean, come on. You know what, to be honest, I'm more excited for that than I am for Star Wars Episode 9. I can't believe I'm saying that, and, we'll see what the trailer has to offer for Episode 9, but Avengers Endgame with Infinity War, the way that movie ended, and not just the ending, but with everything else before that, I mean, wow. I cannot wait to see where the Marvel Universe goes after this, because this is the start of a new transition into a new era for the MCU, and I cannot wait to see where it goes. Avengers Endgame is probably my number one anticipated this year. And Last of Us Part 2, Naughty Dog, you are killing me, man. Where is the release date for the game? Oh, have you played Kingdom Hearts 3 yet? No, I haven't. And to be honest, I've never really got around to playing them, and I just never had an interest in them. But, people do, and that's cool. And my roommate, he's a huge fan of them. He likes to play them, and hey, good for him. Me, I just never really got into it. What are your expectations for the upcoming X-Men Dark Phoenix movie later this year? I don't really know what to expect from that at all. I mean, X-Men Apocalypse, looking back on it, I would say that it's fun, but there's a lot of give and take in there, and I'd have to watch it again just to be sure. Somewhere deep down, I felt like there was something missing from that one. After the way Days of Future Past started off and where it ended after that, it was kind of exciting to see where the franchise was going to go, and then X-Men Apocalypse happened, and you go, really? I don't really know what to expect. I mean, I would hope that they would end it on a good note. I'm kind of like in a wait-and-see type of mode with Dark Phoenix. I'm just wondering, with the upcoming Star Wars Episode 9 later this year, and a lot of people not liking The Last Jedi, what's your opinion on the whole situation going on right now? And do you think Star Wars needs to take a hiatus or keep going the way it is right now? These are my questions. I hope you have a great day and take care. Thanks, man. Same to you. Looking back on it, The Last Jedi, I would say, left a bit of a sour taste in my mouth. I have a very love-hate relationship with the movie. Some of my favorite moments from the saga and some of my least favorite moments in the saga are in The Last Jedi. I'll go more into detail about that when I do my Last Jedi video, my updated thoughts on it. Some of the creative decisions that were made by Rian Johnson and Kathleen Kennedy with that movie, it just really rubbed me the wrong way. There was some feeling going into it that I felt like they were going to do exactly what I expected them to, subverting expectations just to please those who complain that Force Awakens was too familiar. That didn't really help, but the fan reaction, oh my god, that was a huge turnoff, and I found it really, really hard to care about Star Wars after that for a while. There was a lot of people who loved The Last Jedi, and good for them, but then there was a lot of people like Hello Greedo, who, no disrespect to him if he's watching this, who praised The Last Jedi just because it went into a bold new direction. And I'm trying to save that for my video when I get to it, but that's not always a good thing. I mean, just because you go in a different direction doesn't equate to quality filmmaking. You have to have a good reason for doing it, not just doing it to please people who want something different. In Episode 9, kind of like X-Men Dark Phoenix, I have a wait-and-see attitude. Again, I'll go more into detail in my Last Jedi video. If it's going to be good, I want them to have a good reason for the creative choices they made. Not just because they wanted to be accurate to please the fans, or not just because they wanted to do something different to please those types of fans. If it's going to be good, give us a good reason for it to be that way. The movies, at least, I think should take a little bit of a break. At least maybe a couple to a few years. Those people who want it to be done for good, good luck with that, guys. It's never gonna go away. There's always gonna be another Star Wars movie. I'm not against that at all. I mean, I know there's some people who don't want there to be any more Star Wars stuff ever again. Come on, ever since 1977, it's made a ton of money, and it's become a huge staple in our pop culture. It's always gonna be around. And The Mandalorian, that's being produced by Jon Favreau, I'm really interested in seeing where that goes. Wait and see, but that sounds like an intriguing idea, and I would like to see where that goes. After the saga films are done, bottom line, they should take a break for a little bit, and then they should go into the other movies that are not necessarily connected to the Skywalkers. Kind of like what Rian Johnson's doing with his new trilogy. And that's what he should have done from the beginning, but I digress. Hedgehog Wolf 0602, hey, glad to see you back again. What are your thoughts on the Hulk's character arc so far? I like that they gave him a little more fun stuff to do. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't give him some kind of a dark struggle to deal with, because, that's really what a lot of this stuff is. And, then there's also that stuff where he is a superhero and he uses his anger as a force for good. And I'm not saying that it has to be all fun and campy and exciting and everything. I like that they're taking him in a more lighthearted direction. Not to say that they shouldn't do the dark themes ever again. Yeah, bottom line, I like what they're doing with the Hulk, and I would like to see if the Hulk will come back in Endgame. I have a feeling he will, but who knows. Marvel's been known for kind of turning us on our heads sometimes. Speaking of Endgame, what are you most excited to see, but also most terrified to see? Oh boy. I don't know where to begin. I'm excited to see, the transition into the next phase. I'm also terrified to see who's gonna die. I would say Iron Man's probably gonna die. Captain America, probably. But I've heard other theories proving otherwise, that he goes back in time somehow and is able to live his life with Peggy. Who knows if that's true or not. What I'm really excited to see is how are they going to get the new characters back, like Black Panther, like Doctor Strange, or Spider-Man, or if any of the Guardians of the Galaxy are going to come back, considering the whole situation with James Gunn and Guardians Volume 3. What are your thoughts on Aquaman? Haven't seen it, didn't bother, had no interest. But hey, thanks for your questions and for your support, dude. Really appreciate it. Madi Noor. Sorry if I mispronounced your name, man. I'm not always good with pronouncing names. What is it you would love to see more of from Spider-Man in the MCU? Either story, characters, character development, depth, and etc. I would like to see them obviously do Green Goblin again once enough time has gone by. You can't not do the Green Goblin. I mean, if they're not going to do it, like I said before with Episode 9, give us a good reason for doing it. I would like them to address Uncle Ben. He's not really mentioned by name out loud so far. The upcoming sequels definitely have an opportunity to bring him up, because he is an integral part of the character's origin. I would like to see them explore the notion of how Aunt May knows that Peter's Spider-Man. I'm sure there was a few comics within the last few years that touched on that. In live action, we haven't seen that yet. And since Homecoming ended with Aunt May seeing Peter Parker in costume, it opened the door for a really cool idea and possibly a really cool dynamic. Oh yeah, and I would love to see them do Craven. Craven would be awesome. Next set of questions, Kelvin Mendez. Hey Joe, it's good to see more content from you. Hope to see more in the upcoming future. Thanks, buddy. Leading up to the release of Last of Us Part 2, could you possibly do a retrospective / review of the first game similar to what you did for The Dark Knight? I would love to hear your in-depth thoughts on the first game. Oh boy. That's gonna be tough. One way or another, I do at least once a day, try to think about how I'm going to do this game. I've thought about maybe doing walkthrough type of thing with commentary as I'm playing the game, talking about my thoughts on certain things that happened in the game as I first played it. You know how you see gameplay commentary on YouTube and people are talking about okay, you go through this area, you go through that area. I thought about doing something like that, and maybe with a couple of interlocking shots of me talking to the camera as I am right now. Yeah, I don't know. I have a hard time with that. I feel like doing a standard review for The Last of Us is not something that I really can do. I could, but I wouldn't really feel that gave it enough justice. I feel like I'd have to do that, and also with that on top of it. Maybe I'll do both of those things, so we'll see. First of all, I have to figure out how to do that, how I'm gonna put the video together and upload it, with the gameplay and the commentary and whatnot. Somehow I'll figure it out, despite the cancellation of Daredevil. Oh, God. I haven't even seen Season 3 yet. Could you do a Season 3 review if you ever have the time to watch it? Yes, I will. I would love to. I would like to do a review of each season individually. Why did you cancel Daredevil? Netflix, what are you doing? What are you doing, guys? Final question. If the rumors of Robert Pattinson being cast for the new Batman come true, will the fan backlash be as big as the backlash to Ben Affleck's casting? Probably. History has proven before, everyone hates everything that is always announced, especially since Robert Pattinson was in the Twilight Saga. Now, I would not disagree with people who say that those movies are bad. I mean, I don't think they're as trashy as people make them out to be, but they're not that good, obviously. He's also admitted in interviews that he doesn't like them. And I'll admit, I haven't really seen a whole ton of stuff that he's done, but stuff like Remember Me, Goblet of Fire, he wasn't too bad in those things. And I've heard he's good in movies like The Rovers, so who knows? We'll see. Next set of questions. Marvin's channel. Hey Joe, great to see you back. Hey, thanks man. I'm glad to be back too. I really miss doing this. I need to do this more often. Will you ever do a retrospective reviews on Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit? Probably not. I'm not into Lord of the Rings, really. I'm not into the Dungeons and Dragons thing. But, that being said, I appreciate them, and I see why people are really into them, and Peter Jackson did, really, really good job of incorporating the story and the special effects all together the way he did. They really resonated with a lot of people, and they still do to this day. You gotta give Peter Jackson props for that. The Hobbit, wasn't a huge fan of those. I mean, the first one I thought was pretty good. Second one, fine. The third one I didn't really bother to see, because after that I thought, whatever. But yeah, probably won't be doing those. It's just not for me personally. I fell into the hype train, I'll admit, if you go back and watch my older videos, but really, I'm just not really into that genre. But that's just me, though. Do you have a favorite Rockstar game? I would probably say it's between Grand Theft Auto 4 and the first Red Dead Redemption. I'm not really a Grand Theft Auto fan. I've played some of the other games, like Vice City or Grand Theft Auto 3 or San Andreas. I haven't played the fifth one. I like Grand Theft Auto 4. I thought that was pretty good. I liked the story with Nico Bellic coming from the Balkans, arriving to Liberty City to try to move on from what happened to him in the past. The way Liberty City is set up, it's obviously modeled after New York City, and it's not called New York City, obviously, but you can get that vibe from it because the way the people are, how diverse it is, and how everything is set up. Obviously, like with the familiar looking buildings like the Empire State Building and all that stuff, or the Rotterdam Tower as it's called in the game. I really like the whole look and feel of the whole thing. I think it's kind of cool, and every once in a while I like to play it. And plus, like, this is a common thing throughout the Grand Theft Auto series, I'm sure, but the way the commercialization is in the game, like with the advertisements, the radio shows, it's obviously a satire on our culture and how everything's so sexualized and how we're so like quick to not say any foul language. They're able to do that in the game. If you listen to any of the radio clips in the game, stuff that radio DJs will never be able to get away with in our world. But it's kind of cool, actually, and it makes you laugh. It's just like how ridiculous it all is. And I just love how the developers play into that. Red Dead Redemption is basically, I mean, more ways than one, Grand Theft Auto in the Old West. I like the story of John Marston. I like how he's trying to move on from his life as an outlaw, but he has to do something for the government in order to get back to his family, bringing in his old cohorts to justice. Yeah, I would say it's between those two. What's your opinion on Chris Stuckman's latest reviews and the way he rates movies nowadays? It's hard to say. He's a huge inspiration for me. You could probably tell in a lot of my videos. I've tried to, not write off of his coattails as much, or at least I'm trying to. It's not easy because, there's a lot of reviewers out there trying to do similar things. I'd say overall, I could tolerate his opinions. I'm not necessarily someone who's going to break off from him just because he liked a movie that I didn't care for or vice versa. I don't see anything detrimental, although I think he should maybe tone down on the profanity a little bit. I think he's going a little too far with that. Whatever, he can do what he wants with it. Will you ever review the Lethal Weapon trilogy, as apparently Lethal Weapon 5 is in the works? I didn't even know Lethal Weapon 5 was in the works. As far as the trilogy, I don't think I'll talk about 2 and 3. I tried watching those and I could never finish them. The first one, yes, I will definitely do a video on that one. With the Spider-Man PS4 game getting a pass with the whole lack of Uncle Ben, why do you think Spider-Man Homecoming gets a lot of hate by doing that as well, but Spider-Man PS4 gets away with it? Yeah, I don't know. I felt like in some ways that the Spider-Man PS4 game was its own thing. Spider-Man Homecoming is its own version of the character, obviously, but this is a video game where it's not connected to any of the other films, and you do get a mention of Uncle Ben in the game. You see his gravestone with his name on it. If I remember correctly, I think that's how it went down. Spider-Man Homecoming, the only time you really get any kind of reference to Uncle Ben is when Peter says to his friend Ned, "You can't tell Aunt May that I'm Spider-Man. After everything she's been through, it would be too much for her." That's the only time you really get a reference to Uncle Ben. I think maybe just a mention of his name out loud, I don't think people would have complained, but I think that the problem was they didn't mention it because I felt like they were too scared to upset people who would say like, "Oh my God, no more Uncle Ben, no more Uncle Ben!" He's an integral part of the character's story, so you have to bring him up at some point, but I don't really know. People are so impossible to please that I can't really tell what the reason is anymore because there's so many various reasons for not liking it or liking it. Bonus question, what's your opinion on Jennifer Lawrence getting married?
No! God, please, no! 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 God damn it!
Does that answer your question? Moving on. Golden Light Pictures, ranking of the Spider-Man movies. Ooh. Okay, I'm gonna go from top to bottom on this one. Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man 2002, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Spider-Man Homecoming, Spider-Man 3, Amazing Spider-Man 1, and Amazing Spider-Man 2. Best to worst.
Enough said.
Delon Liu, who's probably been one of my biggest followers for the last couple years, so thanks, dude, for all the support you've given me. Oh boy, you've got a lot of stuff on here, so I'll try to get through this as quickly as I can. I'm not saying I'm going to ignore everything, that's a lot, but we'll see. Here's some questions I got for you, a bit longer than my previous Q&A, so brace yourself. As a fan of James Cameron's most recent work, what are your thoughts on his new project with Robert Rodriguez, Alita Battle Angel? Yeah, I'm not really into anime. I don't have anything against it, I don't hate it, but it just never really interested me. I used to watch a little bit of Pokemon, I suppose you could call that anime. I mean, any anime fans who are probably pulling their hair out over me saying that, I apologize. Yeah, I don't really care for anime. I never really had an interest in it. And I know that Edge of Tomorrow was based off of a form of anime, like a graphic novel or manga or whatever. I honestly never really got into it. Maybe I'll give Alita Battle Angel a try sometime. I wouldn't go out of my way to see it in the theater. Are you gonna see X-Men Dark Phoenix and New Mutants? New Mutants, that's the horror movie, right? The horror-like movie? I don't know. Scary movies aren't really for me. Dark Phoenix, yes. Yes, I'm going to go see that. And he also goes on, he has a lot of stuff in this part of the question, but to sum it up, there's a lot of people that are hating on X-Men Dark Phoenix just because it's now a part of Marvel with the Fox-Disney merger. I'll save that for another video, but I'm really apathetic about X-Men being under Marvel because I felt like we've had a lot of good X-Men movies in the past, so I don't really disagree with it, nor do I agree with it, but hey, we'll see what happens. But basically he says, I personally think Dark Phoenix looks good, and I hope it doesn't pull an Amazing Spider-Man 2 on us. You and me both, pal. You and me both. I'm not as big an X-Men fan as I am Spider-Man, but yeah, I hope it doesn't do the same thing. I don't mean to ignore the rest of that part of the question. It's just I don't want to spend too much time reading every single line, if you get what I mean. Question 3. Who would you love to see play Mary Jane Watson, Miles Morales, Harry Osborn, Eddie Brock, Gwen Stacy, Black Cat, Silver Sable, Uncle Ben, Norman Osborn in a future Spider-Man MCU film? Ideally, I would like to have more unknowns being cast in these roles, or someone that's not as known. Because if you think about it, like back to the 2002 Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire, he wasn't exactly an unknown when he was Spider-Man. I mean, he wasn't on the level of fame that his pal Leonardo DiCaprio was at that point. Some people knew who he was at that point. They all had seen him in a couple of movies like Pleasantville, Cider House Rules. He wasn't like your mainstream famous type of actor. Ideally, I would like to see guys like that who aren't exactly as well known as certain other actors out there get these parts, but any more known actors and actresses could pull it off, so who knows? And here he's got people like Sophie Turner as Mary Jane. Yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to that. Ansel Elgort as Harry Osborn. I don't know about that one. It's not a bad choice. I mean, but I feel like maybe he's a little too old to be Harry Osborn. He just looks a little too old. If he were younger, then okay, yeah, I would be okay with it. But like I said, I feel like he looks a little too old. Justice Smith is Miles Morales. Seeing him in Fallen Kingdom and Paper Towns. Yeah, I don't really know. I don't know who he is, but hey, if he's good, then I'll take your word for it. Liam Hemsworth is Eddie Brock. Oh, wow. That's an interesting idea. Elle Fanning as Gwen Stacy. Ooh, yeah, she'd be good. I like that idea. And Super 8, yeah, Super 8, she was great in that too. Camilla Mendez as Black Cat. From CW's Riverdale. Okay. Never seen it. Again, I'll take your word for it. Emilia Clarke is Silver Sable. Of course you would choose Emilia Clarke. Of course you would. Sorry. Tobey Maguire's Uncle Ben. Thank you, dude. Thank you so much. Thank you. Of course I would choose Tobey Maguire as a young Uncle Ben. I don't know if it'll happen though, but can you imagine though? Oh my god, I would lose my freaking mind. Matthew McConaughey as Norman Osborn, Green Goblin. I don't think so. Sorry. You see something I don't? Good for you, but I don't see that. I would say probably Jason Isaacs. Have you heard of the Resident Evil 2 game on PS4 and Xbox One? I've been a huge fan of the franchise, but let's just say that game is like The Last of Us, but more highly experienced and advanced. I don't know if this is your type of taste, considering you're not much of a gamer and big on horror survival stuff, but I actually had a blast playing with it. Hey, that's cool, man. Good for you. I never really had an interest in Resident Evil, personally. Horror survival stuff, I mean, Last of Us is the obvious exception to the rule. I've obviously have heard of the new Resident Evil game. I don't think I'll be playing it. One game that I am interested in playing, possibly, who knows, is that new Tomb Raider game because I got Uncharted and Last of Us flashbacks for some reason because I've seen the pictures that you've been posting on Facebook with that. Hey, who knows? I might try that out sometime. But My only question is, if you can answer in this video, do I have to play the other previous games first before I do this one, or can I just go in completely blind, not being familiar with the other stuff? Just a question for the asking. The DCEU is getting back on track thanks to Wonder Woman 1984, especially Aquaman and Shazam and Birds of Prey. But now what their toughest challenge is finding a younger Batman. Who would your 3 picks be? Again, I don't even know. His choices are Oscar Isaac, Armie Hammer, and Ben Barnes. I have no idea who Ben Barnes is. Oscar Isaac? I don't know about that. Oscar Isaac, I would like to see as Black Mask. Roman Sionis, I could easily see him doing that. Armie Hammer? I don't know. I don't know who I would pick. I would like a more lesser-known actor to play Batman and have that become that version of the character, similar to Christian Bale or Tobey Maguire. You knew who they were, but they didn't exactly have that one signature mainstream role that they were known for. And then when they did that, that's what they became known for primarily. So I would like a more or lesser known actor to play him, but hey, like I said, I've been wrong before. Finally, question 6. What are your initial thoughts on Detective Pikachu? Never really was a huge Pokemon fan, but if Ryan Reynolds is the voice of Pikachu, I mean, Ryan Reynolds, jeez. He is something else, let me tell you that. I mean, I'll probably watch it at some point, but I wouldn't rush out of my way to see it in the theater. These are my questions. Apologies for the TLDR comment, though. Hey, don't worry about it, man. It's okay. I appreciate your questions and your feedback. And you've been a really big supporter of mine, so thanks for that. Mr. Sheed 92, couple of questions. Where would you rank The Last Jedi in the Star Wars saga? Oh, man. That's a tough one. Ranking the Star Wars movies? I don't even know. I don't know if I would put it above Revenge of the Sith, but I would definitely put it below Return of the Jedi. I feel like Return of the Jedi has a more cohesive plot. What are your top 5 MCU films? Whew, my gosh. Okay, here they are. No particular order. First Avengers, Civil War, first Iron Man, Winter Soldier, and the first Guardians of the Galaxy. There you have it. How should Tobey Maguire show up in the MCU? Sorry, I had to. Uncle Ben. Uncle Ben? Hello, young Uncle Ben. Or if it doesn't, I could see him being a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent, like an Agent Coulson type of character. If they were to bring back S.H.I.E.L.D. in the upcoming MCU films. If he were to get cast in the MCU somehow. Marvel, please make this happen! What do you think of this SJW hysteria that's taken over fandoms? Because I'm starting to get sick of it when it comes to Captain Marvel. Oh, you and me both, pal. And you know what? It's not just with Captain Marvel. It's for other films that I feel like has really gotten ridiculous in the last year or so, and I'll save that for an upcoming video that I'm going to be uploading soon. Keep your eyes open for that. When you watch the video, you'll know my full thoughts on it. Lastly, how would you rank the Jurassic Park films? Similar to Spider-Man. First Jurassic Park, Lost World, Jurassic Park 3, and Fallen Kingdom. John McKinney asks, if Norman Osborn, Green Goblin, is in the MCU, who do you think should play him? I was thinking Jason Isaacs for the role. Yeah, I would say the same thing too. I feel like he has that cynical nature about him. And Jason Isaacs has been known for playing similar types of characters like that in his other films. He has the good look of a bad guy, so I can easily see him doing that. Which Norman Osborn Green Goblin do you prefer? Neil Ross 90s animated show or Willem Dafoe? I love Willem Dafoe, but I'm going to go with Neil Rogers given he was my first exposure. I won't disagree with you. Personally, Willem Dafoe is who I think of when I think of the Green Goblin because that was my first exposure to the Green Goblin. The one in the 90s show is pretty good too. I haven't gotten that far into the Spectacular Spider-Man yet, but I know that the Green Goblin's in that show. Yeah, I would say the 90s show is a pretty good representation, but it's Willem Dafoe for me. Yes, you can make fun of the costume all you want. I don't care. I still think he's a good representation. Do you think Emma Stone should have been Mary Jane Watson, and do you think Emma Roberts should have been Gwen Stacy? I'm not really familiar with Emma Roberts, so I can't really say, but I think Emma Stone would have been a better fit for MJ, because she has more of that sassy party girl type of personality. Do you think Billy Zane should have been Lex Luthor? He's great at playing bad guys and looks like Lex Luthor from the Superman cartoon from the 90s. Yeah? I would definitely not have been opposed to that. Have you seen Titanic, where he plays Cal or whatever his name is? I mean, that guy is a real douche, but major props to him for doing that because, I mean, watch that movie and see for yourself. Yeah, I think he would have been a really good choice for Lex Luthor. Much better than Jesse Eisenberg. Oh. Would you like to see Gwen Stacy's death properly? In the comics, it was Norman Osborn who killed Gwen Stacy, not Harry. That really upset me in the not-so-amazing Spider-Man 2. See, on principle, I wasn't against Harry Osborn killing Gwen Stacy. If the movie was done right, I wouldn't necessarily have complained. It was still, I thought, a pretty faithful adaptation of the death scene, but it would be nice if Norman Osborn did it. Whether or not he or Harry end up doing it in the movies, it doesn't really matter to me. As long as I feel it's a well-written story, I could care less who does it. Jordan Sweet asks, can you ever make ranking videos? And also, what's your take on the Oscars this year? You rock. Oh, thanks, man. Ranking videos, if I do, I don't think a lot of times they'd be in a specific order, but I do have something in mind. And I'm probably going to do like the best parts of the Star Wars prequels, and it's something that I've been planning for a while. I'm thinking about doing a video on the Star Wars prequels, but not the usual prequel hate that you've seen in the last 20 years or so since The Phantom Menace. I think I'm going to be doing that on like top 10 or top 5 best parts of the prequel trilogy, the actual good parts of the prequel trilogy, at least the ones that I thought were good. Because anything bad that you can say about the prequels has been said already. There's plenty of good things to pull from those 3 movies, despite the fact that they weren't really good overall. I'll save that for the video when I do it. As far as other ranking videos, not too sure about that one. And what's your take on the Oscars this year? Haven't seen enough of the movies that have been nominated. I can't really say. I mean, I'm glad that Bohemian Rhapsody has gotten some nominations, although I wouldn't consider it a Best Picture nomination. I think it's a really good movie and a really fun movie, but I don't know if I would qualify it as Best Picture. Best Actor? Yes. Best Sound Mixing? Best Musical Score? Whatever? Sure, yeah. But the other stuff, I'm not too sure about that one. But again, haven't seen enough of the other movies. Can't say for sure. Tom Blakeney asks, if Insomniac are going to make a sequel to the Spider-Man PS4 game, what would you want to see from it? I would like to see more of Peter Parker training Miles Morales to being a superhero. I would like for it to try to clarify more what was going on with Harry and Norman and what exactly is going on with Harry, what exactly is getting him sick. And I would like to see if Norman Osborn is going to be the new Green Goblin, because I have a feeling that they might do that. I don't know for sure, but I would like to see that go somewhere in the future. I would love to see Kraven in the new Spider-Man game. Elifbound asks, are you going to review Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse? Probably when it comes out on Blu-ray. I thought about doing a review of it at the time when I saw it, and I really liked it, but after a while, like I said, with other things going on in my personal life that needed my attention, I didn't really have the energy for it at the time, but I'll probably review it when it comes out on Blu-ray. Could you please do a review on Alita Battle Angel? We'll see. When it comes out on Blu-ray or digital, I will watch it and I will decide, and I'll post my thoughts and so on. Can't promise you much, but I can promise you that I will watch it. Ross Jostone asks, what are your thoughts on Dark Phoenix so far? Are you excited and nervous? I'm kind of conflicted. I mean, I've already gone into this, but I don't really know what to expect. I mean, I hope it's good, but I'm not really excited, nor am I really skeptical about it. Kai Caldro asks, favorite Nicole Kidman performance? Wow. I haven't seen Eyes Wide Shut. I know she's in that with Tom Cruise, who she was married with at the time. Far and Away comes to mind, also with her and Tom Cruise. I think she's pretty good in that. Yeah, I'm not too sure if I have a favorite of hers. The Media Guy asks, who's your favorite actor? Tobey Maguire. Hands down, enough said. Bulk Walster. I hope I said that right. What's your opinion on Disney making rated R films for Marvel? Since X-Men is under their umbrella now and they're going to continue to make Deadpool, I'm really indifferent about ratings most of the time, but as long as they don't encourage kids to go see it, then that's fine. Shooks Fire 52 asks, have you seen the Spider-Man 3 editor's cut? I have not. I've seen clips of it, but I haven't seen the entire thing. And the last set of questions from Gustavo Renteria. Hopefully I said your name correctly. I'm not good at pronouncing names. I have a couple of questions for you, Joe. The first question isn't really a question, but me and my girlfriend really love your channel. Oh, thanks, guys. Really appreciate that. Second question, what are your top 5 favorite comic book movies? No specific order. Dark Knight, Spider-Man 2, The First Avengers, Days of Future Past, and Civil War. Those are my top 5. Third question, are you going to review the Venom movie anytime soon? I'm not too sure. I've had no interest in seeing it. I might end up watching it later on at some point soon, but we'll see. If I feel like I have something to say in a video, then I probably will. What are your favorite live-action Spider-Man suits? Tobey Maguire's costume from Spider-Man 2, and Tom Holland's Stark upgrade suit from Homecoming and Civil War. What movies are you looking forward to the most in 2019? Avengers Endgame. I know there's a lot of other movies coming out, but Avengers Endgame, that's probably the one that I'm really excited to see. And the final question, can I follow you back on social media because I'm a fan of your channel? Yeah, absolutely, man. You're more than welcome to follow me on there. In fact, the links will be in the description here below. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever you have. And if your girlfriend has a social media account and she would like to follow me on there, absolutely, feel free to. They're also on my channel too, if you go to my main channel page. So those are all the questions. Thank you guys so much for sending in your questions. I apologize for not getting as much content out in the last year or so. It's been a really crazy year. I'm trying to get back into the swing of things, but I'm feeling a lot better now, and I'm really looking forward to getting back into a rhythm, hopefully pretty soon. I'll try to put out as much content as I can if I'm feeling up for it, which I more than likely will. It's just a matter of what I want to talk about and is the timing of it right. Thanks guys for all your questions. Stay tuned for more videos coming your way, and I'll see you all next time.